Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are around this beautiful planet of ours. Today's video, we're looking at altcoins and the continued breakdown of these altcoins. Could it have been anticipated? How to stay safe in the market? And then what to look out for in 2023 in case you've been caught up in the continued crash. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you find value from the content. And of course, I'll remind you at the end of the video as well, if you want to wait to see what sort of value you're getting from the video. So this has been something that we've talked about throughout the bull market in 2021 and in the bear market of 2022. For the altcoins, as a background, if you're new in the space, 2021 was the bull market. It is the time to make money from altcoins, take it out of the market, take those profits, put it into something else, maybe cash, maybe some Bitcoin just in case it keeps going, or maybe get a property if you happen to get that lucky and make a whole lot of money from the market. But 2022 is definitely not the time to be buying and holding. And my position for the entire 2022 has remained unchanged. I've not talked about ever buying altcoins on the dips to hold for the long term. And in this video, I want to show you exactly why that is the case. This happens every single cycle. And in making these videos that I've been doing for several years now, I hope that it at least saves you some money and then you learn from the mistakes and potentially make the money. I did this myself in 2018. So this was through the bear market of 2018. Potentially what you're thinking and experiencing now throughout the bear market of 2022, it was the idea that we could keep buying the dip and eventually we'll get a bull market or an altcoin season like we saw in the actual bull market. So we had multiple occasions like this throughout 2022, where the market got quite excited that we saw a dip and they're expecting some sort of big rise to make a lot of money out of. And so we need to really understand the difference between trading and investing. Trading is a short-term thing, and short-term can mean weeks or even months. Investing essentially means buying and holding, not looking at it, not getting caught up in the news headlines or the emotions, the news cycles, the market sentiment, and just holding this thing for 10, 20, 30 years. Unfortunately, all of cryptocurrencies, of course, in my opinion here, they're not ready for that type of investment. There's nothing that has been confirmed in this space to say that they are ready to be held for that long. I know this is probably contrary to what a lot of people believe, but of course that's my investing and trading thesis on the entire market. And that's how I remain safe in the market and continue to make profits from it. And so I hope I can help you remember what's happened in the past, and then you use this into your investing plans into the future. I know that might be different for some people saying, well, what about Bitcoin? You know, it's been around for 12 years. That is true. It's been around 12 years, but this is still a relatively new space and some of these projects just won't make it. So I think it's prudent that we remain active in our investments, even if it is holding it for a potential Bitcoin cycle of 4 years. Just remain active so that you're watching the market, because any time could come during this next bear market for Bitcoin and it just doesn't reach that new all-time high, or it breaks significant lows. Nothing has been proven just yet. And that's why we do experience such massive gains in altcoins, because nothing is proven. It's essentially just pumping up on big hopes and dreams of the marketers, the people who are coming up with these coins, the people who are then promoting the coins for more coins and then dumping it on their followers. So we just want to stay away from that through any of these cycles. And stay away from holding those altcoins longer term. There's nothing wrong with buying them or getting involved in them to make the profits in the bull market, but we definitely have to get out of them in the bear market. So we're going to look at what has happened in the past and see if this is the possibility for the future as well. And look at the timing of these particular cycles. This chart I have here is the total cryptocurrency market cap. So this is the altcoin market cap. There's no Bitcoin in here. There's no ETH. There is stable coins, but of course we can subtract those to give us a bit better understanding of the market itself. This white line I have here is the Bitcoin dominance. And this is part of our TIA indicators. This is basically the dominance without the stable coins, which is why it looks a little different to the actual Bitcoin dominance chart. So it helps identify a clearer trend in the Bitcoin dominance? Meaning, is there more money flowing back into Bitcoin rather than altcoins? So the first thing I want to look at is the time frames here, so that it can hopefully keep you safe to not keep buying any of the dips, especially in things like Solana, which we've seen a lot of over the last few days, with it continuing to drop, currently at $8.50. This is definitely something that was not a great investment over 2022. And although the bulls get quite excited at some of these lows, and then you see the market pump up, and they're saying, well, you were wrong, you should have bought that dip, it's going to be great things, this is the end, you've missed out. The entirety of 2022 has basically proven that incorrect. It's been a really bad choice to be buying the dip. Altcoins are falling knives. You're going to keep getting burnt and sliced up hands throughout the bear market. And remember, we do have a lot of time, even once the bear market bottom has been put in, to hopefully find that next 100x or 50x altcoin. You have a lot of time here. So that's what I'm going to look at as well, so that we can understand there does not need to be any FOMO with getting into altcoins, because essentially they just keep going down and down and down. And some of them, or most of them, will never go back to new all-time highs. And so the thought of buying these altcoins on dips in the bear market in the hopes to get another 100x in the next market is probably not going to happen. It's basically a fact that the majority of them will not go back to new all-time highs. And to think that maybe your one coin or my one coin out of the 20,000 cryptocurrencies that are out there at the moment is going to be that one specific coin that goes to the 100x again, it's not odds that I would like to take. 1 out of 20,000, probably not going to happen. Generally what happens is it's going to be the altcoins that come out in the next cycle. And think of what we're seeing now in the market as we close out 2022, leading into early 2023. The narratives are different to what they were in the previous cycle. The previous cycle, heaps going on in NFTs, metaverse, gaming. But what we're seeing right now with the release of something like ChatGPT, and this could change by the time the next bull market comes around, what we're seeing is a lot of hype going into AI. And so if this hype continues to stick around into the next bull market cycle, which could be another 2 years away for the altcoins, could be another couple of years away, and if the AI narrative sticks around in the tech space, then we could see coins that are coming out with AI attached to them in their marketing strategies and their marketing plans. They could be the ones that pump 100x or 200x, because it's a new technology that people don't know about. This is all speculation, of course, and that's what the whole entire game is about. And we try and reduce that speculation by looking at key support and resistance levels using our Gann swing indicators that I've talked about many times on the channel here. And you guys have been following for a couple of years now would have seen me use a lot of the Gann swings. And so that indicator is right there as well. If you do want to have a look at it, it's in the top of the video description here, TIA Gann swing indicator. And if you just want to join us for our free report, that is also in the top of the video description there. We go through Bitcoin, the real estate cycles, and of course, cryptocurrency cycles. So looking at these time frames for bear markets, this is specific bear markets on altcoins. We'll just remove the dominance here. You can see from the peak of the previous altcoin cycle back in 2018 to the bottom, 11 bars. So candles here, 11 months. That's 11 months in a bear market just going straight down. We've done more than that now in altcoins. We're into our 13th month. Our peak was about November. We'll have a look at that in a sec. But essentially, this carries out all the way over into another high low, which essentially that's what markets tend to do. We got 23 months into the high low before the pandemic low. That was 26 months. And then before the breakout of some of the significant tops, which happened in July of 2020 into August of 2020, 30 and 31 months for that confirmed macro breakout, the retest 32 and 33 months later before the next breakout 34 months later. So if we wanted to play it safe from the previous peak, the previous cycle showed us approximately 30 odd months before a breakout of a key level. Before that, we had 23 months and 26 months. So around the 2-year period was the higher low. The higher low is a very strong signal for the upside. Moving forward, 2.5 years, of course, that's 30 months. That starts to bring on the breakout. And then at around the 3-year mark, so 35, 36 months, so just short of the 3 years, we really started to get that breakout. So there's really no point in getting FOMO to get into these altcoin markets whatsoever. There is a lot of time that we've seen in the previous cycle. And I know the next thing that comes up for a lot of people is, well, how do we know that that last cycle is going to happen again? And I'd ask you to go and look at, say, a NASDAQ cycle or anything that has new technology in it. Crypto is a new technology. And when these things start out, new projects, there usually is a long bust cycle, a long potential accumulation cycle, or essentially a redistribution if the projects never make it and they get the dump. And then there is a very short period of a boom cycle. So looking at that time frame again, if we take it from the first area here around July or August as a measure from the breakout of the key area, that was the peak, to the first peak, you've got 10 bars. So 10 candles here, 10 months. There was a very hefty correction in May of 2021 into June and July. That was very, very significant. It doesn't look like much on the chart here, but it did wreck a lot of people. A lot of people got quite fearful. Then we had that one last final boom into the peak, and that was at around November 2021, lasting 16 months here. So between that 10 and 16 months. So if you wanted to use a rough number, probably around that 1 year period. So we have about 1 year of the really fast gains, measuring it from the low, so that that first bottom here of March, using this significant bottom, to the first peak, about 14 bars, and to the end, about 20 bars. So if you wanted to play it safe and get out before the rest of the herd tried to take that last few dollars into the peak, then somewhere around that first year. But remember, there was still several months of that next peak, so there's still more opportunity in there. But if you just want to play it safe, generally that part of the cycle is about 12 months. This is something that I've experienced in over my investing career of over 16 years in many different markets. I also have invested in mining towns in Australia, which act very, very similarly to altcoins because it's the same psychology, it's the same investor mindset, it's the same thing that people invest on, FOMO and greed. And the FOMO, essentially in mining towns, is exactly the same as what happens in altcoins. People are saying there's a new technology here, it's going to go crazy, this project is going to do X, Y, Z or Z, and it's going to be the next greatest, biggest thing. And you get this huge boom and then a bust. And this is a really common cycle amongst new technologies. It's not new, it's not exclusive to altcoins, it is across the entire space. And the same thing, like I said, happens in mining towns. Everyone rushes in, there's not a lot of supply, the prices boom up in those towns, and then eventually they bust because the mines may never come through. There's a lot of contracts that are going out, and only a few get accepted by the government or the councils that are in those spaces. And then the building has to begin for the mines, and that thing takes a lot of time. So we're seeing that in something like Ethereum. Things take a lot of time, and there's only a few that will actually survive. And so if we take a look at the Bitcoin dominance of how these seasons tend to play out, we can see from the chart that we are in a bit of a space here that it's time for Bitcoin to have its shine again. And so that just also goes into the whole timing of the altcoin seasons, not to rush in to altcoins, not to try and buy the bottoms, not to try and be a hero and buy some of these lows. You can see here that Solana is now starting to creep up. There are people trying to buy this dip up right now, but there is still a lot of space to the downside. We could still see a lot of drops, even though people are trying to buy this up here. You can see it's just running up as I'm filming right now. They're getting a really big pump, $8 to $10. And so that's why we need to separate the investor and the trader. This is fantastic trading opportunity. Like you can see live as I'm filming this right now, absolute fantastic trading opportunities because the volatility is extremely high. There are a lot of people in these markets. You can see that run up to 10.50. Now it's dumping to $10. It's going to be high emotion times. To the downside, if we just take a step back and we just remember what type of trader or investor we are, to the downside here, after any sort of short-term fluctuations, we may still see another 20-odd% in the altcoin market overall, coming back to some of these significant areas of support and resistance. Further down to the downside, there could still be another 45% drop to this particular area here. So there's still a fair bit to go in this market from what I've seen in the previous cycles. And like you can see here, it is just getting absolutely thrown high and low, up and down. The other thing to note is the downsides. You can see a lot of decline from peaks, and what this can then mean to the investor themselves. From the peaks, you could lose 50% over and over and over again by trying to buy up all of these dips. Some would say, well, that would then equal 200% loss. Of course, we're just looking here at the lows to the lows. For this. So this is the first significant low here. We'll throw in the swing indicator here so we can see these lows. And then from the next low down is another 45%. So the first drop, 48%. The next drop, 45%. If we keep going down from this low to where we currently are, I'd say that's another 20 odd percent there. So low to the next low, there you go, 10%. And then if we stretch that out to the next support level, could be another 27% down to about another 50 odd percent. So you can keep losing 50 on 50 on 50 trying to buy the dip if you in fact do get the dip. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't get the dip. They end up buying the peak. And so it's an absolute, a much bigger loss from that point in time. So looking at Solana, if you had been following the channel, you know this is one of those altcoins that I have talked very publicly about selling. I sold on the way up. I only got 160 out of it, but now it doesn't look so bad, seeing as though it's at $9. It's quite a difficult thing to do at the time, especially if you're out there in the public space, to talk about selling an altcoin when everyone is so bullish on the altcoin going to new, biggest and greatest things. You know, I posted about this on YouTube. I posted about it on my socials, which you can follow down here. So I posted about this on Twitter and Instagram. So make sure you do follow those. Don't get scammed out there by other accounts trying to replicate my account here. These are my only single official accounts. And I post about that time to time. Also on the way down, there were significant breakdown areas, which we follow here on the channel using specific GAN TA. So Solana also had a very similar thing here. We got significant drops, 71% down, 65% down from the low to the low. Like we know, people don't necessarily buy the exact low. I definitely don't. But from those peaks, when everyone gets excited, you know, it could be up to about 80% loss from that top to the bottom. And then again, bottom to the next bottom, another 57%. If we want to go even lower, there's another 69% from the bottom to the next bottom. And if you, like I said, if you've been following for a while, these are specific support and resistance zones, which I've had on the chart for a while, just looking back at the chart to see where the specific support zones were before. And you can see the market is following these zones very, very closely and respecting them for a particular period of time. If Solana happened to find an area here, and we can use this across any other altcoin, it would be a slow grind to potential recovery again, back into a healthy recovery zone. So these are specific terms that I've got here based on the cycle here. If it breaks down from these key levels, which I've determined using GAN analysis, just looking at key breakdown points, then these are going to be much, much harder for anyone holding that particular coin. And like we can see, there's a lot of people trying to buy the dip on Solana. I suspect there's going to be a lot of hodler this far down in the market. If it goes underneath these previous tops of $4 or $5, almost can throw this down the drain as saying it's not an ETH killer. We've had these in the past. We've had EOS, we've had IOTA, things that you probably never heard of from the 2017 cycle, and we may get those again in the 2022 bear market cycle. You can see Solana is now down nearly 97%, and should we take it to the top of this level, that's a 98% drop from the top, although you can lose 70% down, 70% down, another 70% down, all the way down trying to buy those dips. So it is very, very important if you're going to make it long-term as an investor, not to get caught up in these hype cycles of trying to buy each of these dips, because it can turn out really, really bad quite quickly on the way down, and then there's nothing left to go for the upside here. So 98% down on Solana from that top would bring us out to about that $5 level, but that's still not to say that it can't go any lower. And like we said earlier, it may not even go back to new all-time highs. It may not reach $250 or $60 odd again. It definitely will not feel like that in the bear market, but during a bull cycle, there will be a lot of people talking for higher prices, 200, 300, 500, and why it must do that, and all that sort of hype that we've seen in the past. We've seen the same sort of thing with Litecoin. It's gone on big pumps. It has a season, and then that season is usually over, and it doesn't reach that again. This is similar to many altcoins from a 2017 cycle. You get a huge big pump up. They go through their bear market that takes many, many years, and then that next bull market altcoin season, they just don't regain their all-time high. They cannot hold it. They may touch it for a few bucks, but then absolutely get dumped in that next bear market cycle. And so you're wasting a lot of time and resources being your money and your time, trying to hold or buy up the dips of old altcoins because they just don't have those hopes and dreams left in them to pump up to those extra tops of the 100x or the 200x. It's been burnt out. Think about the people who were in that previous cycle. They don't want to know about this coin anymore. They've either left the market or they're looking for something new. I definitely am looking for something new. I don't want to be holding on to something old. Think about it. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you want to hold old things or do you want to go look for that new shiny thing that could pump because there are new people into the space? Same sort of thing here for IOTA, unfortunately. This was one of the golden childs of 2017, pumping up to $6, down to 6 cents. And then this is the altcoin season or the bull market of 2021. It just was not able to regain anywhere near that previous old all-time high. Trading gains, perfect. Remember, we're separating trading and investing. Beautiful trading gains here. But the bear market has been very, very brutal. And you can see over a macro time frame, lower highs on a macro time frame here. And I dare say that it's working towards, at 16 cents now, lower lows as well. This is an incredibly bad sign for altcoins. You do not want to be holding an altcoin that turns out like this. Lower highs on the macro time frame through 2 bull market cycles, and then potentially lower lows as well. This is very bad for your portfolios. And many of the altcoins that were in 2021 bull market are probably going to end up like this because not everything can make it. Cardano as well, it did have a slightly higher high, basically just over a doubling of the top. Hopefully this does not turn into an IOTA. I know there are a lot of people who are betting on this, but watch for these particular key significant tops and bottoms as well. It is not good if it breaks back down into a previous accumulation zone, any altcoin for that matter. These were the capitulation zones. I know if you've been following the channel for a while, let me know in the comments down below if you remember seeing this chart that I've had here for a very long time. Capitulation zone, 17 cents, previous tops to 33. People were saying it's not going to happen at these lows here at 70 or 80 cents. They said it again at around 40 cents, and here we are now at 24 cents. Looking likely we're going to break further down. And this might not even be the low at 17 cents. And I dare say people will come back and say, you said 17. No, there's no 100% guarantees here. We're just looking left on the chart. And if there's no confirmation of the low being in, then I'm still not buying that altcoin. I'm just watching zones to see how the market reacts to those prices. We could overshoot, go down to 8 or 9 cents and then bounce back above. That's not going to be a bad sign for something like ADA, but you definitely don't want to see it grind out between 8 and 16 cents. It's not a good look for ADA longer term, and especially a very bad look if it breaks under 9 cents into this zone again. XRP, it didn't have a very good altcoin season during 2021. It is now on the decline again, potentially breaking down that 28 or 29 cents. Gets back under this zone and grinds out between the old 10 cents and 25-ish cents. Not a good look either because it has lower highs and potentially lower lows. It'll be working back towards that 9 or 10 cent level. So keep an eye out for that. I know XRP is traded quite heavily, hopefully not invested in long term, but as a trade, this thing can be very, very good because a lot of people look at it. That's what you want for a good altcoin to trade as well. The smaller stuff, near, well and truly on the way down, getting absolutely crushed. Could this be another IOTA or EOS of the 2017 bull market? Could it be one of those? You definitely would expect it to be if it broke down these key significant levels, even though it could have fantastic fundamentals, great tech, all that sort of thing. You definitely don't want to see critical structures broken. You definitely want to wait for the confirmation that this is going to get bought up again. Similar to what has happened with ETH. You can see the critical structures getting bought up. We're getting more dumping on the market as I'm talking to you live on this recording. And then for the key structure here for ETH, breaking back above these highs up to nearly $5,000. I dare say that this is going to come back down. This is probably not the end of the breakdown for Ethereum here, now sitting at around $1,200. So, I'd be waiting again for bigger buying opportunities. I'm still looking for anything down to around that sort of $600 or $700 level just before it broke out and went on an absolutely crazy tear to that first level of just short of $4,500 and then finally to around $4,800. So this doesn't look like it is really holding up, that it wants to hold this level and then break to higher ground because the rest of the market is still falling. It is holding up stronger than majority of altcoins and Bitcoin at this stage, but it might break later in the market, just like it did in the bull market. It reached its peak after Bitcoin, reached its second peaks after Bitcoin and held up at those levels after Bitcoin. And potentially on the low, it's going to form a low after Bitcoin as well. So we'll keep an eye out for Ethereum as well on the channel. So that's it for the altcoins here. Make sure you do subscribe, like the content, check out the links in the video description for our free report and the Gann swing indicator that we use a lot of here to determine these macro areas of support and resistance, breakouts, how to trade in the market, stay safe out there. I'll see you guys at the next video. Thanks for sticking with me throughout this bear market. I'm still going to be here. This is the best game, I think, out there in the investing and trading space. I'll see you guys at the next video. Until then, peace out.